Senator, thank you for the time. Let's start out with the heartbeat bill that's been making so much news over the past few days here in Texas. 2 years ago, state leaders here in the Republican Party said they did not think that this was the highest priority at the time because it was something that would ultimately be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court. My question to you is, what changed?
A couple things have happened, and you're right. It's obviously a big deal. Texas has been a leader in pro-life legislation, and there was a thought over the last few years that until the Supreme Court was right, it wasn't the time to send a bill that they might rule against. They might make the law worse. They might come up with something that was really bad. And so there was a big discussion about that. But I think everybody realizes now a dozen states have passed heartbeat bills. And so it was time for Texas to. And so we looked at other states' bills. We looked at Supreme Court opinions, Fifth Circuit opinions, got a lot of smart lawyers and folks in the room, and came up with a really strong bill. We believe this is, not to be arrogant, we believe it's the best heartbeat bill passed in America. We feel good about it.
Senator, there is a clause in here that allows anyone to sue an abortion provider that breaks the new law. They don't even have to live in Texas. I believe that you personally put this in the bill. So the idea is that the public should enforce this law. But to me, that seems really ripe for abuse, considering the GOP is really trying to clamp down on frivolous lawsuits.
So, Jason, I'll say two things about that. One is, we know that many district attorneys around the country, even in Texas, Dallas County, Fort Bend County, a number of our urban counties, where the district attorney has said publicly, you can pass a heartbeat bill if you want to, but I will not enforce it. Other states have had the same problem. And so that's a concern when an elected official says, I'm not going to enforce the law. So that's one reason we like public civil enforcement. And this is ground that's been plowed before under current Texas law. Under Medicaid fraud, for example, any person who discovers Medicaid fraud can bring a civil case to bring that forward. The Chick-fil-A law, Senate Bill 1978 from last session about your religious freedom, that also allowed any person to bring a civil action. So it's not a new concept in Texas law. And if the elected officials won't follow the law, we'll empower the people of Texas to do it. And we think it makes sense.
Let's talk about the other high-profile bill you have moving in the Senate. That's already moved in the Senate and in the House as well, too. This would make changes to the state voting laws. The House, we watched, watered down what you and your colleagues in the Senate passed. Two questions for you on this. When do you expect the conference committee, the group of senators and representatives, to have a final discussion on this and really get something pushed through? And in your opinion, what must that include?
You bet. Senate Bill 7 is that omnibus accessibility and security bill that the Senate passed. The House had a different version. And when they put the bills together, a lot of the House version made it in. But now that we're in the conference committee, everything that was in Senate Bill 7 and everything that was in House Bill 6 will fit into that final report. So I realize that we're here Sunday. It's the first day of the week that we don't think of the work day starting till Monday. But I believe this coming week, you're going to see something come out of the conference committee. This is a strong bill. And again, it's about making it easy to vote and hard to cheat. There's going to be details to wrangle out, but I think the big stuff that people care about is going to be in the bill.
Senator, you came on our program early on in the session here and talked about another idea you had, and this is an idea you had last session as well, too. It's Senate Bill 12 this session. This would essentially let any Texan sue social media companies if they get kicked off or censored on there, such as, Facebook and Twitter. The governor supports this, but this is a bill that hasn't been able to get any traction. Why aren't your Republican colleagues pushing this?
It's been something, Jason. I'll tell you, we like the bill. We think a lot of Texans, we know a lot of Texans care about it. As you said, the governor came to my district just for that purpose. I can tell you this, the governor's been on the phone this past week. Personally, he's called me. He's called multiple members of the House to say, I am for this bill. I want this bill to pass. It's a priority. So where we are right now, the bill's through the Senate, through the House committee, and it is now in the calendars committee. That's the committee that decides what bills go to the floor. So here in the final stretch, Senate Bill 12 is alive. And so we'll know, again, by the end of this week, what's going to happen. The bill can still pass. And again, this is about free speech, right, and holding social media companies accountable when they censor your free speech. So I'm disappointed the bill has taken this long, but it's still very much alive.
All right, Senator, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.